So the text that I've referred to a few times, the Vijnana Bhairava, Vijnana Bhairava means divine consciousness. And it says that this divine consciousness that we are is non-describable. You cannot describe it, but it's nevertheless something that dawns on us when we do the preliminary work and when we surrender. It just seeps into our awareness. And, it is totally free of thought constructs. If you have thoughts in the middle of it, it's already escaped. It's gone. It's that pre-sensory awareness. And that means total openness. Non-relational, it doesn't relate to anything else. It just is. And this text also describes these 120 dharanas, or techniques. One thing it stresses is the benefit of mindful focus on an exceptional person. It doesn't mean that somebody is higher or lower or anything. It just means that some people have more awareness of this deeper reality that we all are. And so focusing on a person like that, of course, is going to be more beneficial than focusing on somebody who's totally confused. We've all been in situations where maybe I'm caught in my ego and the other person is caught in the ego, and it becomes just a nasty ego soup. I mean, there's no light in it at all. And at least if you're focusing on somebody who has done some work in that and it's clearer, you have a chance then to awaken that same experience in yourself. Another one of these dharanas, as I mentioned it already, is contemplating sunya. This is the vastness of space. That we are really existing in this vastness. To train our mind to be able to not be attached to any particular thing. We can visualize and try to feel ourselves existing in empty space. And it can be a little scary. But this text says that any one of these dharanas, if you grab a hold of it and do it earnestly over time, you will get there. You don't need the other 119. Just do one thing. So Rudy's I wish to grow is such a thought, such a central thought. You just think, I wish to grow. Anything that you encounter is an opportunity to grow in that awareness. Even though the appearance of it can be such that it creates difficulties and challenges and so on, but it can still, if you have the right attitude towards it, be an uplifting thing and teach us something. Now this next one I also like a lot, and this is what I asked you to do earlier, tracking joy or pain of intense experience, sensuous or otherwise actually, to its source. This is what we do when we become very aware of some kind of sensuous experience, and instead of being lost in it, we go to its source. Let's say you feel intense anger about some situation or other. Well, instead of expressing that anger, you bring your awareness into it and feel backwards into where does it come from. And inevitably, if we do that by following the breath and the regular practice, then we discover that it comes from the self. It comes from our deepest inside. And then if we identify with the source of it and the energy flow of it, rather than the form of it, then we are free of it. This is really a universal law. If you do it, you will get the result. But you can't give up too quickly, you know, because it needs to be repeated a certain amount of times, and you need to get skilled enough at doing it. And you have to have the patience and perseverance. You can experience the oneness by tracking your own intense sensuous experience, be it painful or pleasurable. The whole idea is we go deeper than the pain and the pleasure. We go to where the well-being of the self is, where there are no problems, where there is Satchidananda. And the nature of that sense of presence is bliss, has bliss in it by nature. We don't have to do anything to try to force ourselves to be joyful or have a little silly smile on our face, you know. This is not necessary. It just, you can look grumpy even and still have that feeling. The last one is aesthetic experience, and that is just the whole idea that we can use our visual experience or any other kind of, audio or whatever, to learn to focus and to learn to have that sense of non-attachment. I mean, it recommends looking at a beautiful landscape, but really consciously opening to it. And a work of art, you know, and not have your analytical mind looking at a painting or a sculpture and immediately start to think, you know, what date was it made, who made it, how much does it cost, any of those things, but just to really open to it and let it be a source of upliftment. And we all have had that experience, I hope, at some point. Aesthetic experience and spiritual experience are very similar, very related, because it has non-attachment in it. You know, good film lifts us out of ourselves, doesn't it? You feel a little distance, but at the same time, engagement that is safe.